Hey, this is Stefan with Benevolent Brain. I'm here with Dale Parkinson, the best-selling author of The Secret to Reversing Age. Thank you for coming on.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thank
Yes,
you for having me.
yes, of course, in beautiful Las Vegas. Why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from?
Well, originally I'm from Idaho, from Boise, Idaho. Lived there for about 45 years. Then moved to Oregon, where I spent another 20. And then we just recently moved here about 3 years ago, my wife and I.
You were in Idaho and then Oregon, and now you're in Vegas, right?
Yes. Hmm.
What brought you to Vegas?
Well, a lot of things. Like most people, the thought of living in Las Vegas did not turn me on. I think of the Strip, when you think of Las Vegas. And then so when we finally got here and explored the neighborhoods and the communities, and as you can see, it's not really a bad place to have to hunker down if you have to. It's so much more beautiful than Las Vegas than people give it credit for. And so the minute we came here, we fell in love, and next thing you knew, bought a home, and here we are.
What's your day in the life here in Vegas in terms of what you do?
Well, being an old retired guy, I'll be 70 this year. It's pretty nice. You just get up when you want to, and have a couple cups of coffee, play with the dogs, have some fun. And I usually come down here to the gym and work out about 10 o'clock in the morning, and then go back and figure out what else to do. That's the great thing about being retired. You don't have any schedule. Every day is Saturday when you're retired. I highly recommend it.
I don't know if you can tell, but Dale's a beast. He's pretty ripped. He just took us through a nice workout. It was pretty tough. He knows what he's talking about. And you wrote that book a couple years ago, right?
About a year and a half ago, yeah. The Secret to Reversing Age. I've gone through quite a transformation myself in my own personal life. I used to be 70 pounds overweight. I had 8 major surgeries, tendons ripped off the bone in both arms, 2 different bouts of 2 different kinds of cancer. I've had lymph nodes removed. I've had 18-inch blood clots. I mean, I've had nerve damage in my feet. I've had just a cavalcade of injuries and whatnot that I've had to go through. And so finally one day I got fed up with it and decided to do something about it and reinvent my life. And the next thing I know, I was working out in a gym, and a fella came up and asked me, he goes, "Can I ask you a question?" I go, "Yeah." "How old are you?" And at that time I was 68. I go, "Yeah, I'm 68. And he goes, "Oh my God." He said, "You look so much younger than the rest of us around here. What are you doing different?" And that kind of told him my story and what I used to be before I reinvented myself. And he said, "You got to talk to somebody." He wrote down a name and phone number, and I called it, and it was the people at My Vegas magazine, and they ended up doing a story about me and put me on the cover. And it kind of made me not a local celebrity, but people knew who I was, especially here in the gym, because we're all friends. And somebody said, your story is pretty amazing. You need to write a book that's going to help other people who want to reinvent their lives and get a second chance in life. And so I sat down and wrote the book in about 3 weeks, and got it published. And next thing you knew, I won 3 or 4, I think maybe 5 book awards, and made the bestseller list, and just had a lot of fun.
If you don't mind sharing, what are some of the secrets for reversing age?
It's all about diet, exercise. What most people don't realize in this country, 93% of all Americans suffer from insulin resistance. And 60% of people are walking around with diabetes. And so it's all about diet. You got to eliminate the sugars, eliminate the carbs, lose weight, get your body fat down below 20% if you're a man, get it below 30% if you're a woman. And magically, about 80% of all diseases will go away if you're suffering from something. Chapter 14 in my book, I profile a good friend of mine here in Las Vegas, a lady named Christina Royale. She weighed 320 pounds, and she was so obese that the doctors, she was diabetic, of course, and suffering from 3 or 4 different diseases, all from insulin resistance. And they were going to have to amputate her toes. That's how bad she was. And so she went home and decided to change her life, and bought a little bicycle and started riding around the block, changed her diet, went on the Mediterranean diet, which is one of the 3 diets I profile in my book, lost 160 pounds. totally reinvented her life, and now she works out every day in the gym. She does kickboxing, and this is a lady that couldn't even bend over to tie her own shoes at one point in her life. So it just goes to show you, if once you set your mind to do something and maybe ask the good Lord for a little bit of help, you can get it done.
What are the other two diets? You said that was one of the three.
I personally use the keto diet and the paleo diet. Now, the paleo diet is a favorite of my stepdaughter, who is a, you want to call somebody a beast. She's a firefighter in LA, but she was also voted the fittest firefighter in the world in 2018. And so she knows a little bit about nutrition and health, and she's a big believer in the paleo diet. I, like a lot of bodybuilders, follow the keto diet. I profile a friend of mine who's a professional bodybuilder and physique model in the over 65 age group. He's #1 in the world. Steve Taylor is his name, and he does the keto diet. And one of the things, and another thing that kind of motivated me to change my life around, way back in 1983, I was in really great shape. I was Mr. Idaho. And as time went on, I let myself gain weight and get a little fat and sloppy. And anyway, Steve and I was crippled, I had all these different injuries. Steve and I are having breakfast at an IHOP one day in Bend, Oregon. And of course, he's pretty famous. And we're sitting there, and this guy gets up from his family and comes running over to the table and goes, "Aren't you Steve Taylor, the famous bodybuilder?" And Steve goes, "Yeah." And I go, can I get a selfie with you?" And Steve goes, "Sure." And so they take the picture, and Steve points over to me and goes, "My friend here was Mr. Idaho. Do you want to get a selfie with him?" And the guy looks at me, and I had a big pot belly at the time and little dental floss arms hanging down from my shoulders. And he literally broke out laughing and goes, "Ha ha, Mr. Idaho, that's a good one, boys," and turned away and walked off. And that was just the moment in my head, I think, where the Rocky theme started playing, and I thought, that's enough. I'm going to change my life. And that's when I started taking steps to reinvent myself.
You're doing something right, that's for sure.
Well, thank you.
I know you mentioned you're Christian. Do you have anything you live by in your day-to-day life? Any kind of morals?
Oh yeah,
Anything you
do
follow?
unto others.
Yeah.
I try to help anybody that wants help. I'm a big believer in karma and things like that. I'm such a wussy. I won't even hunt or fish because I love animals so much. And that's really basically what I'm all about, just love and laughter. Try to leave the world a better place than the way you found it.
Thank you for sharing. Do you have anything you want to add before we kind of wrap up here?
Oh God, I think I've taken too much of your time as it is. I'm just very grateful that you, and honored that you asked me to be here. I appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.